You're good.
Today, I have with me Vanessa Taylor, who has a great healing story. She's somebody who dealt with Hashimoto, so an autoimmune condition, food sensitivities. She's had a history of SIBO, so a lot of digestive stuff, and now she is doing so much better and has a wonderful testimony of her experience using Primal Trust to help regulate her nervous system and help her body self-heal from these conditions. So welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I just gave a quick synopsis. Could you let people know a little bit about your story? How long ago you became sick, what diagnoses you had, what your limitations were? Give us the picture of where you began before you let us know where you're at now.
Sure. So about 5.5 years ago, I started having some weird digestive things. Um, I ended up I went to a GI doctor. They did all sorts of tests and didn't find anything. And I saw a naturopath who diagnosed me with SIBO and leaky gut at the time. She also saw that my thyroid was starting to go in the wrong direction. And so her eye was on it. And then she helped me overcome SIBO, and we were working on leaky gut for a long time. And in the midst of that, I developed Hashimoto's, and I had very low energy, um, achy joints, bloating in my stomach. Still, I had that a lot with SIBO. Um, and I just didn't feel like I was functioning well. I was also in a life transition. I had just gotten married and moved across the country, and was trying to get as adjusted to that as well. Um, anyway, I kept working with my doctor and getting some healing, and I got to the point where I was able to eat a lot of foods, but not all the foods. I wasn't able to have dairy, gluten, eggs were the main ones. At one point with SIBO, there was only a handful of foods that I could have, which was very difficult, as you know. Anyway, um, my aunt told me about this program, and I joined it. And holy cow, it helped me more than I could imagine. I Am I skipping ahead? Do you want me to
No,
keep
no, no,
going?
keep going, keep going.
Okay. All right. So the main reason why I joined it was to help introduce my food sensitivities back into my diet. And little did I know that my nervous system was not regulated. I didn't understand what that meant at that time. But by doing a lot of the regulation practices, it helped me be calm. At this point, when I joined it, I had had my first baby, who was about 9 months old, no, a year and a half at this point. And I remember just playing with her one day and stopping and being like, oh my goodness, I enjoy this. Whereas before, I had been so fixated on my to-do list and my task list and everything that I needed to do that it was really hard just to enjoy the moment. So this program has really helped me be able to, A, realize the importance of doing fun things for me and enjoying life. As a very taskless driven person, it has been so hard to implement that every day. Um, and I'm still working on it, but I recognize it, and it's something that I'm aiming for every day, to do something I enjoy. So it's really given me a lot of quality of life in that way. I ended up reintroducing all of the foods that I was sensitive to and have had no problem with them. My doctor my doctor told me that I could go off of my thyroid medication. I had had a second baby who's now 15 months old. So she told me when I was done breastfeeding that I could do that. So At 12 months, I stopped breastfeeding him and started weaning off the medication. And I've been off of it now for about 6 weeks, and I feel good. I feel like I have adequate energy. I don't have any achy joints. I don't have any bloating. I haven't had that in quite a long time. Um, and I have my labs done again in a couple weeks, and I'll meet with her at that point to see if everything is normal and level.
Wow.
So,
That's
overall,
amazing.
I know. I never thought that it would be possible, and it's become something that I'm so passionate about, and I'm so grateful for your program.
Wow. So you've gotten your foods back. You're off your thyroid medication for an
Mm-hmm.
autoimmune condition,
Yep.
and noticing that there was a setup that might have contributed to you having these conditions, which was that hyperdrive, task-oriented, not even knowing about nervous system regulation. And that, I think, is one of the most key things that you've said, is that a lot of people, they don't know that they're living a life where their system is ramped and stressed. And over time, your digestion goes off, your thyroid gets tired, all of these things. And we're told that these things are incurable and unreversible. Like once you get autoimmune, you have it. But here in Primal Trust, we're seeing a different story because yes, I think if you don't change anything, yeah, it stays there, right? Like if your personality is going to be the same, then yeah, it would make sense that your biology is the same. But it sounds like you've changed in your personality and how you're living life. So tell us a little bit more about the old Vanessa versus the new and what's different. I mean, even more than what you've
Yeah.
described.
Yeah. So the old Vanessa was like hyper focused on my to-do list. I made sure that was number one, that I got all of the things done, even though if it didn't really make sense that it needed to be done, it was on my list. So it needed to be done. And come hell or high water, it was going to happen.
Mm.
And I kept finding that I suddenly didn't have like the energy that I needed to do those things. And I was really irritable and not fun to be around. And it was really just a hard way to live life. And I didn't enjoy anything. I never did anything for myself that I wanted to do. And I was really, really hard on myself. I never gave myself grace. I really had low confidence. Um, I just kept going down the path trying to keep accomplishing my list, and that's what I lived for, which is not a pleasant way to live. So, Primal Trust helped me realize that I was in that mode and helped me realize that that wasn't a healthy way to live. I will say I'm still trying to get to the complete opposite side. I'm not quite there yet, but I now give compassion to myself every day, which helps me a lot. I now take times to do things that I enjoy, and it took a little while to discover what it was that I enjoyed. Um, I really like creative things, and I like to listen to music and create music, and it's been really a fun journey realizing all of this. Um, I also my kids have been getting a little bit older, and parenting has become very challenging. I have a very strong-willed 3-year-old, and had I not had these tools, I don't know where I would be. It would be so much more difficult than it already is. But it's helping me stay calm and helping me reassess and reevaluate and be okay. And sorry, my daughter just came in the room and I got a little sidetracked. Um, and I just feel happier. I feel better. I've been able to um, be able to get in touch with my body more, which I never had before, and kind of address its needs. And that's a big thing that's been on my mind a lot lately. What are my needs and how can I meet them? Which has helped me be a lot happier. I recently discovered that there are therapists that help with parts. I don't want to get too into the terminologies here, but that is helping so far. And I think it's going to only keep helping me discover the parts about myself that need attention and need to be heard and to help heal.
That's wonderful. And I think for people listening, you're describing this process of, instead of this way of living that's an overdrive to be safe. And ultimately that to-do list was a way of control. You're wanting to have a sense of control, and you realize that sense of control started to come at the expense of your own energy and vitality, because it was fear-driven, stress-driven. Sounds like you got in touch with, like, wow, I need to like let go of that, which congratulations, because a lot of people have a very difficult time letting go of that protective, adaptive strategy of living their life. And like you said, coming more into the present moment and feeling what are your actual needs versus this to-do list, what you thought was your needs, but there's actual needs behind that.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's been very enlightening to see that and to address those and to realize that they are actual needs that need to be met. And as I do, I can feel my connection with myself get closer, and I feel like I have my back more. And it's been really healing relationships wise with myself, which I didn't even know was a thing before, that you could have a relationship with yourself.
I love this. And did you go through both the level 1 and level 2 Primal Trust program?
Yes, and a little bit of the level 3 classes.
Great. Tell people who are listening that maybe they haven't done level 2, or a lot of people don't know about level 2. So how was that for you, and what did you learn in that process?
It was amazing. So level 2 is about trauma, and I thought it was going to be, well, yeah, anytime I thought about trauma, I thought of like, let's talk about what happened when you were 5. And it wasn't like that at all. Not that that's not a good thing, but it helped track my patterns and my things that were holding me stuck. And the biggest sorry the biggest thing in the first class, the biggest awakening that I had was the judgments that I had about myself and others. And after I watched that class, I was like, every single thought that I have is a judgment, and that is what is holding me stuck. Maybe not every single thought, but it felt like 85% of them. And being able to see the patterns of those, of where the core root judgments or thoughts where it was very empowering. And there's a whole lot of more work to be done there, I think, for my whole life. But that was really, really big.
And how long were you in Primal Trust, where you went from having to be on this medication to now being off it? What's that time length? I'm sure people are going to want to know.
Yeah, so I started Primal Trust in November of 2022, and I went off my medication about 6 weeks ago. So that would have been April of 2024.
So about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And I went off of I introduced my food sensitivities last fall, which I could have done it sooner, but I wasn't quite sure. But I think I would have been just fine.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. So a little under a year when you started to reintroduce your foods and did okay. How did you know that it was time to introduce your foods? Like, how did you know, like, okay, maybe I can eat these foods now? What was that like?
Well, first of all, in the very beginning of the program, I remember being on like an introductory call, and I asked the question towards the end of our call if if it was possible. I'm like, this is the main reason why I'm here. Is there any way that like this program could help with this?
Mm-hmm.
And Nikki was the one leading that, and she said, I have been through that. I've had a bunch of food sensitivities, and now after going through Primal Trust, I can have any food that I choose. And I was like, what? How? So as I learned about the section that talks about that, I was like, oh my gosh, I could probably start this now. But I wanted to get a little bit of the tools under my belt first. And I don't know, I just felt ready when the time came to do it. I probably could have done it earlier, like I said, but
Mhm.
I was a little scared.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting that so many people still don't know that food intolerances are reversible, that it's just an immune response that can be retrained as we retrain the nervous system. Tell us a little bit about what your habit was of your daily practice. Like, what did that look like for you, and how did you self-regulate?
Sure, my daughter just popped
That's
in here.
okay.
She's had an allergic reaction, so her eyes are a little puffy. But
Oh.
um, so I did I yoga every day, 3 or 4 times a day. That I could feel as I was doing it that it was calming something in my head, and I know it connected to the rest of my body. So that was really effective for me. I did um, I tried to aim for 3, but 2 to 4 brain retrainings every day, and I did them throughout the day. So I started one in the morning, I did one around lunchtime, and maybe another one in the afternoon, and one at the nighttime. Um, I also did a little bit of somatics. I probably could have done more, but it was a little hard with my kids to try to fit all of the tools in. um, and I did the daily structure sheet every morning. I still do. I still do the eye yoga, the brain retrainings, and the daily structure sheet every day. I try to fit in some eye orientation or somatics
Mhm.
into my day, and I think that was most of what I did every day. And then sometimes um, I did a few other ones that just felt like I needed to in the moment. I recently was introduced to Qigong,
Mhm.
um, and I started a little bit of that like a week ago, and that has made a big impact on me too. So I'm starting to incorporate a little bit of that every morning.
Awesome. Yeah, I love sugar. I just did some this morning as well. It's one of my favorite ways to start the day, especially going outside, getting the sun in my eyes, and just, yeah, greeting the day with some beautiful movement. So very
Yes,
cool. Very
yes.
cool.
I also incorporate breathing every once in a while, especially like when I'm heightened going into the dorsal vagal realm. I just try to breathe to calm myself.
Awesome. So amazing that you have these tools with young kids, because they're going to grow up with a whole different mom than what would have been had you not had them. And I know for me, I did not have the tools until my kids were a little bit older, and it's one of my biggest, I mean, you shouldn't have regrets, but if I had a regret, I wish that I had these tools when they're at the age that you're at. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks. I hope well, I know it will be a better I am a better version than I would have been without these
Yeah.
tools.
Sounds like you're able to be more present with them. And really, that's what matters. That's what helps. We often worry about our kids and our kids getting sick and all the things, but the more present we are with them, they're able to drop in their body. And that's what causes their neurobiological development to be more optimal, by being able to be in their body, because mom is in her body and is present. And that's going to help her immune system, develop better over time. It's often that setup of our own childhood that makes it where we don't connect in with our bodies, and we grow up being to-do-aholics instead of human beings. And just, it's these are the cycles that we're breaking with us as parents, learning nervous system regulation. Yeah.
Yes. I'm grateful for that too, because I often think back to my childhood as a parent. It's really hard not to, and I hope that I'm breaking some of the cycles.
Oh, you
So
absolutely are. I mean, look, you just reversed an autoimmune condition. How many people can say that? That's quite a cycle. Well, I like to end the interviews by asking, what words of wisdom do you have for somebody who may be where you were a few years ago with the food sensitivities, the SIBO, the thyroid starting to go offline? What's your words of wisdom for those listening who might relate?
Well, first, I want to say that it's possible to not have those symptoms and conditions. As crazy as it sounds, it is possible. And um, going through the journey and the process of getting on the other side of that is so rewarding and connecting with yourself. And it's the best gift that you can give yourself to be able to have the calmness and the centeredness that these tools give you, and the relationship with yourself and others. It affects others as well. It is the best gift that you can give yourself.
Hmm.
So I would say it's hard, but it's worth it, and it just takes time and patience, and it is possible.
Hmm. I love that. And I also want to end by asking, what's next for you? What's next in the journey of living a life you love and bringing your true self into the world? What have you discovered about yourself through Primal Trust that you're wanting to cultivate and bring more of?
Well, I have a couple things that I'm wanting to do that I enjoy. I want to write a song, and I am in the middle of creating a flower. They're kind of big for me. So I want to keep doing things like that. I'm also, I mentioned meeting with my therapist, going into my parts. I want to continue to heal those. Um, it's been challenging, like I mentioned, being a parent to a very strong-willed 3-year-old. So I think that is going to help me deal with that and be the better parent, the better version of me that I want to be, especially in really difficult situations with strong-willed 3-year-olds. Um, and I just want to keep living life and enjoying it and continue doing these tools to stay regulated and to continue to love myself.
Hmm. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Well, Vanessa, thank you for taking the time to bring this encouraging message to the world of your own healing. Because every time we share these things, it helps to unlock other people's belief systems about what's possible and that maybe we're not being told the full story about what's behind our food allergies and our autoimmune conditions, and that we can have a direct, self empowered approach to healing these things. So, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. And thank you for creating this program and making a way possible and known for people in our situations to be able to receive healing. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.